Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, October 12th, 2023 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I balance the intensity by leaning into destiny. Well, it's one of those intensity rising kind of days. We have Mars moving into Scorpio. And as I was feeling through, as Mars goes through some of these signs, like Libra, Mars is uncomfortable. And then it gets into Scorpio and it's whew, I can let out the breath that I've been holding and the intensity notches up a little. And then it moves into Sagittarius. And there's still a little notch up. So we're not there to the Sagittarius. We're here with Mars moving into Scorpio. But later today, we also have the moon moving into Libra, and that moon in Libra is preparing us for the eclipse on Saturday. And this combo, plus a Friday the 13th, which I personally love, thrown in the middle, is amplifying the vibes. In talking to people, I've just been hearing about so much intensity in the world. In seeing what's going on in the news as well. There's a lot of intensity in the world, but even beyond things that are making news headlines, it feels like there's a lot of comparison, aggravation, frustration going on in the world. And with Mars at 29 Libra, makes sense, okay? And building to this eclipse in Libra, we are seeing these mirrored reflections. But here's where it's going to get interesting. Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Libra is passive aggressive. Mars in Scorpio is straight on aggressive. Mars in Scorpio is ready to seize the frustration and retaliate. With Mars in Scorpio, we are called to check our action with our motivation and see where that alignment is, because it can be really easy to find that place where we feel like a victim and feel like we need to retaliate. So for the next month and a half, actually it's right before my birthday, November, I think 25th, 24th or 25th is when Mars is going to shift out of Scorpio. So through this eclipse season, we're going to have that energy going strong. But what I love about Mars and Scorpio is that it's ripe for action-based transformation process. And that is at the top of the cards that I have. So recognize there's going to be, for sure, some instant karma going around that you may, if you're out of alignment in your action-reaction, watch for the boomerang. Watch for that coming back around. Mars in Scorpio is a beautiful place where we can tap into our desire. And I believe our desires are connected to God. They're connected to the blueprint. It's connected to how we're being called to move forward. And yet, we, through our perspectives, we, through our experiences, can shape desire in wonky ways. And we have to watch for that. And really, again, check your desire motivation. Check your action motivation. What is your goal? And hopefully those of you who are watching this, your goal is personal empowerment, personal transformation, and to move from the light. To move from the light even closer to the light, right? But watch this, because you may find paranoia and fear being very motivating at this time, like much of the world is. And I think that there are purposeful things that happen to increase that fear motivation within ourselves. So check that for yourself incoming. Now, beyond Mars and Scorpio for the next month, which has some intensity, it can also just increase your passion, that sexual desire, there's a lot of ways that this could run into fun and to run a little amok. But besides this, like I said, the moon will be shifting out of Virgo into Libra. That's not till 5:22 p.m. But this eclipse energy is coming in. And as the eclipse energy comes in, relationships may get more and more and more and more and more intense in the reflection mirror connection, showing us where we ourselves need to see where we're out of balance. And so keep that in mind. As the moon finishes up in Virgo today, it is making several connections. It's connecting to Uranus, it's connecting to Neptune, and it's connecting to Pluto. Especially in that connection with Pluto, with Mars now in Scorpio, even though it's going to be at 0 degrees, so you may feel a little energetically low. There is so much intensity building. That Pluto energy, again, is Plutonic colonic. It wants to bring the stuff up so that you see it. So recognize that in your intense energies. Recognize where it is a reflection. My reflection's standing right there and is distracting me.
Hello, everybody. Well, I just wanted to throw in with 5-element theory in Kung Fu is this is the time of the lung, which holds on to grief. So it grieving things.
Grieving things. And grieving can make reaction. And there's a lot of grief going on this planet right now from everything unfolding. And yet we have the capacity. So, moon opposite Neptune. Balancing the intensity with our destiny. Recognizing God at play. The universe at play in all that's unfolding. As tough as that can be to reconcile, I believe that sometimes humans set out on our own, in our own free will, and yet Spirit God can take nefarious, hard to swallow, challenging energies and bring around alignment. And I think it's important to be able to lean into God, lean into the universe, lean into spirit as we move through these energies to help us keep aligned in our motivations as well. Because the ego and the survival parts of ourselves can be strong motivating forces. So leaning into the unfolding destiny and trusting in your part of that work. We also have Mercury and Jupiter in conjunct today. Mercury in Libra, Jupiter in, this is interesting as I'm looking at the chart. Jupiter in Taurus, and we have Mercury and Pallas together. And what it's bringing up in me, so Pallas can be the patriarchal response to things. And Mercury hanging out with that, we may be thinking on that patriarchal response to things. And yet, what was coming to mind with Jupiter in Taurus and in conjunct is Ferdinand the Bull. I love that story when I was little, and I bring it up regularly. Ferdinand the Bull was a bull who was pegged for bullfighting because he was a great big bull, and they saw him jumping around, being very aggressive when he was stung by a bee. And then he got there, and he just, in the bullfight, just wanted to smell the flowers and just sat there sniffing the flowers. Check your response. Your response doesn't have to be the patriarchal response. You can sit and smell the flowers. You can sit and bring the peace. And it's knowing that your vibe in that peaceful place is enough. And I know a lot of people will say your prayers aren't enough. This isn't enough. And there is a time to act, right? There are times, but it has to be aligned. And so trusting your part in things unfolding. If you are the bull sitting and sniffing the flowers, that is your role. And you don't have to listen to the patriarchal shoulds that will throw you out of your balance, that will take you out of your peace, that's going to add to the chaos. So just keep that energy in mind with all of this. We're all learning to be energy magicians in this, preparing us for Pluto in Aquarius. So besides the transformation card, we've got some tuning in. Like I said, Mars is going to be at 0. You may feel pretty zonked out. That's okay. Rest. Rest. Daydream. Imagine. Put on the song Imagine and Imagine. I do have clinging to the past. So again, as we build to this eclipse, we're going into the dark of the moon. It is dark out there, for sure. There may be some old emotional stuff that comes up. And I have the playfulness card in reverse as well. But see where you can bring the sense of play and recognize that even as the world is in pain, it is okay for you to play. In fact, it's helpful when and if you play. The world needs your play. The world needs your peace. The world needs your love. The world needs your light. And if you can hold that value, if you can hold that vibration, if you can carry that energy, you are 100% making a difference. So, with that, you can book a reading. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and remember who you are. Namaste.